Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, we are from group 9. We will discuss about chapter 9, assessing writing. So we are consist from me, Lisa, and then my partner Eliana and Nadia Emilia. Okay, for the first explanation will be explained by me. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, so why is writing important? So an expert said that writing is basically a way to record speech and strengthen grammatical and lexical features of language, so that writing become the most important part of the job. Basically learning, for example, writing paper, dissertation, book, and etc. Then next. This is the genre of writing. There are academic writing, for example, like a paper, essay, thesis, dissertation, technical reports, and job-related writing, like advertisement, announcement, manual, message, and letters or email. And the last is for personal writing. For example, like text message, tweet, email, letters, greeting card, and invitation. Okay, this is about type of writing performance. There are four. First is imitative. This is focus for form. The second meaning, intensive, skill in producing appropriate vocabulary for meaning and context. And responsive, there is a logical sentence relationship, and extensive, manage all processes and strategies in writing typing goals. Okay, next slide is about micro and macro skill of writing. This is micro, apply more appropriately to imitative and intensive type of writing tasks. And for macro, and essential for the successful mastery of responsive and intensive writing. Okay, this is the example for writing. The student only put this word and completely this paragraph, and then this is for when you writings for certain. For example, this the that yes that this is can you see this this is this screen. Oh
Yes. Yes.
and next this picture how to we write the daily activities. For example, when you get up and then you brush your teeth, and from this picture you can write something word or sentence. Okay, I think enough for me, and the next explanation will be continued by my partner. Okay, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Well, next is about reordering tasks. So this is one task at the sentence level may appeal to those who are fond of word games and puzzles, like ordering or reordering a scrambled set of words into a correct sentence. As you can see on the screen, these are some examples of this task. So There are three examples. It is students have to arrange the word, become the under test, right? Like number one, the weather is cold in the winter, or it can be in the winter, the weather is cold. The second, what are you studying? And the third is the clock is next to the picture, or it can be the picture is next to the clock. So although this somewhat inauthentic task generated writing performance and may be said to tap into grammatical word ordering rules, it presents a challenge to text takers whose learning styles do not dispose them to logical mathematical problem solving. And some justification for it emerge if there are three kinds. The first one is sentences are kept very simple, such as in item 2, with perhaps no more than 4 or 5 words. The second is only one possible sentence can emerge. And the last is students have practiced the technique in class. Next slide. Okay, this is the issues in assessing responsive and extensive writing. Responsive writing creates the opportunity for test takers to offer an array of possible creative response within a pedagogical or assessment framework. Both responsive and extensive writing tasks are the subject of some classic, widely debated assessment issues that take on a distinctly different flavor from those at the lower end production of writing. There are three kinds of it. The first one is authenticity. So this is a trait that is given special attention. If test takers is being asked to perform a task, its phase and content validity need to be inserted in order to bring out the best in the writer. The second is time. The second is scoring. So the scoring is the thorniest issue at this final two stage of writing. This is with so many options available to a learner. Each evaluation by a test administrator needs to be finally attuned not just to how the writer's strings work together, but also to what the writer is saying. And the last is time. Time, yet another assessment issue surrounds the unique nature of writing. So it is the only skill in which the language producer isn't necessarily constrained by time, which implies the freedom to process multiple drafts before the text becomes a finished product. Next slide. Okay, this is the last. Designing this is designing assessment tasks, responsive and extensive writing. There are 5 kinds. The first one is paraphrasing, guided question and answer, paragraph construction tasks, strategic option, and standardized tests of responsive writing. The first one is paraphrasing. This is one of the more difficult concepts for second language learners to grasp is paraphrasing. The initial step in teaching paraphrasing is to ensure that learners understand the importance of paraphrasing to express something in one's own word. Next is guided question and answer. A guided question and answer format is which the test administrator posts a series of questions that essentially serves as an outline of the emergent written text is another lower order as in this type of writing. Next is paragraph construction task. Has three form. The first one is topic sentence writing. Assessment of the effectiveness of a topic sentence consists of specifying the writing of a topic sentence. Next, scoring points for its presence or absence. And the last is scoring and commenting on its effectiveness in studying the topic. Next, topic development within a paragraph. Has 4 criteria. The first one is clarity of expression of ideas, logic of the sequence and connections, cohesiveness or unity of the paragraph, and the last is overall effectiveness of impact of the paragraph as a whole. And the last is development of main and supporting ideas across paragraph. This has 5 elements when evaluating a multi-paragraph essay. The first one is addressing the topic, main idea, or principal purpose, organizing and developing supporting ideas, using appropriate details to integrate supporting ideas, showing facility and fluency in the use of language, and demonstrating scientific variety. Next is strategic option. So the following main and supporting ideas is the goal for the writer attempting to create an effective text, whether a short 1 or 2 paragraph one or an extensive one of several pages. And the last is standardized test of responsive writing. So this is a number of commercially available standardized tests include writing components, the TOEFL, MILAB, PTA, IELTS, and others. Typically, such tests comprise a prompt, require the test taker to respond within a time limit, and are scored by means of a rating scale. Well, I think is all for my part, and next will be delivering by my partner Eliana.
Okay, thank you, Nadia, Emilia. Okay, next we will see this is about scoring methods for responsive and extensive writing. So the test designers commonly use 3 major approaches to scoring writing performance at responsive and extensive levels of writing. Holistic, primary trait, and analytical. In the first method, a single score is assigned to an essay which reps X0002 reasons a reader general overall assessment. Next slide. Can you see here? Scoring method for responsive and extensive writing is divided into 3 types. First is holistic scoring. In holistic scoring, a reader assigns a single score, a rubric for scoring oral pro X0002 diction holistically. And the second is analytic scoring. Analytic scoring for classroom instruction. Holistic scoring provides little feedback into the writer for the stages of learning. Primary trait scoring focus on the principal function of the text and therefore offers some feedback potential but no feedback for any aspect of the written production that enchants the ultimate accomplice X0002 man of the purpose. And the last is primary trait scoring. This type of scoring emphasizes the task at hand and assigns a score based on the effectiveness of the text, achieving that one goal. For example, if the purpose or function of an essay is to persuade the reader to do something, so the score for the writing would rise or fall on the accomplishment of that function. Next. And then about assessing initial stage of the process of composing.
First is the following are some guidelines to assess the initial stage, the first draft or two of a written composition. These guidelines are generic for self, peers, and teacher responses. First, we have focus your effort primarily on meaning, main idea, and organization. And the second, comment on the introductory paragraph. And the third, make general comments about the clarity of the main idea and logic or appropriateness of the organization. And the fourth, as rule of thumb, ignore minor local grammatical and lexical errors. And five, indicate what seems to be major global errors by underlining the text in question, but allow the writer to make corrections. And the sixth, do not rewrite questionable, ungrammatical, or awkward sentences. Rather, probe with a question about meaning. And the last, comment on features that seems to be irrelevant to the topic. Next slide. Okay, the last is assessing initial stage of the process of composing. Assessment of later stage in composing. First is comment on the specific clarity and strength of all main ideas and support ideas and argument and logic. And the second is call attention to minor local grammatical and mechanical spelling function errors, but direct the writer to self-correct. And the third, comment on any further word choice and expression that may not be awkward, but are not as clear or direct as they could be. And the fourth, point out any problems with just cohesive device within and across paragraph. And the five, if appropriate, comments on documentation, citation of source, evidence, and other support. And the last, comment on the adequacy and strength of the conclusion. Okay, I think that's all from our group about assessing writing. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. I think enough for our presentation. If you have question, you can ask me one by one. Okay?
Okay, I have a question.
Okay, please.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, so I have two questions, and number one is about micro and macro. About micro and macro skill of writing. Can you give some example for it?
Okay, about micro and macro, right?
Yes.
Okay. For example, you produce a graphs and orthographic pattern of English, and it is for micro, and the next is produce writing at an efficient rate of speed to suit the purpose. And for macro, for example, we can use the rhetorical form and convention of writing discourse and appropriately accomplish the communicative function of writing text according to form and purpose. And another, I think that's enough for your question.
Okay, thank you for your explanation. And then the next question is, what are the genre of text that typically addressed in responsive and extensive writing?
Okay, it is about the genders, right? It is in issues
Okay,
in assessing.
maybe will be answered by my partner. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Well, the question is, what are the genders?
Yes.
So,
What are
this is in assessing responsive and extensive writing. In this case, the learner is responsible for accomplishing a purpose in writing, developing a sequence of connected ideas, and empathizing with an audience. Well, the genres of text typically address in 5 kinds. The first one is short reports with structured formats and convention. The second is a response to the reading of an article to the story. Response to the reading of an article or story. The third is summarize of articles or stories. The fourth is brief narratives or descriptions. And the fifth is interpretation of graphs, table, and charts. So it is here with the writers become involved in the art and science of composing or real writing as opposed to display writing. I think that's all that I can answer for the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your answer. I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you, Monica. And then another people, do you have question? Another participant?
I have a question.
Okay,
Okay,
please.
of yes. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Nokatiki, and from your presentation before, can you explain again about 3 types of scoring methods for responsive and extensive writing?
Okay, can I answer, moderator?
Okay, please.
Okay, the 3 types of scoring method for responsive and extensive writing. We have 3. The first is holistic scoring. In holistic scoring, rather assign a single score, and analytic scoring for classroom interaction. Holistic scoring provides little respect into the writers. And the third, primary threat scoring. This type of scoring is emphasize the task at hand and assigns a score based on the effectiveness. Okay, I think that's all my answer. Can you get it?
Yes, I can get it.
Thank you.
The answer.
Okay, thank you. I think enough for our presentation. Thank you for joining in this discussion. Okay, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.